Giving an extemp speech is a lot like riding a bicycle. Too little preparation and too little forethought will leave you crashing and burning due to a lack of knowledge. Too much preparation can leave you freezing up and unable to begin to start with. However, just the right amount of preparation, information, and forethought means that you'll be flying along in no time. In terms of the happy middle ground between the stiffness of a manuscripted speech and the unpreparedness of an impromptu speech lies the middle ground of an extemporaneous speech. Numerous studies have found that audiences resound more and have more faith in a speaker that both has information on hand in the form of a note card or some other cue, yet doesn't rely primarily on the note card for a source of their interaction with the audience itself. Thus, if you're looking to register a reaction with any type of audience, an extemporaneous speech is the way to go. But when starting the speech, there are several things that you need to remember. First, you have to remember what to do when you prepare the speech. Second, what to do when beginning the speech. And finally, what to do when during and ending the speech itself. But to start with, the most important aspect of an extemporaneous speech is how you prepare the speech itself. In order to do this, you're going to need three main things. First, you're going to need a computer. The computer allows you to look over several pieces of information and find the pieces of information that are the most helpful to furthering the points you're making during your persuasive speech. Second, you're going to need note cards. As I stated previously, audiences tend to resound better and have more faith in speakers that both use some type of note card, yet don't rely primarily on note cards for all of their points. When preparing the speech, you're also going to need a pencil. With the pencil, you're going to be writing down the main points of the speech, but not the actual arguments you're making. I've demonstrated it here in the speech that we're doing now. So, when preparing the speech, first, you need to gather your sources using this computer. And second, you're going to need to organize your points. Just like I've done during this speech, I've had three main points that I'm going to be going over. As such, when you're giving an extemporaneous speech while preparing the speech, in its most important and its most fruitile point, you're going to need to make sure that you prepare your points as well as the sources you're going to rely upon for this persuasive speech. But once you get into the actual room and you're trying to change opinions, even lives with your persuasive speech, there are two main steps that you need to take into account. First, you're going to have to make sure that you command the room. Not with literal commands such as sit down and shut up and be quiet, but instead with your tone of voice, with your stature, and of course with the way that you speak to people. By doing this, you demonstrate that you are the speaker of the room and you're going to be commanding how the room goes for the next couple minutes. Second, you need to start off with an attention getter. Just as I elaborated on how an extemp speech is a lot like riding a bicycle, you need to make an attention getter that's going to gather the attention of your audience while not detracting from the main point of your speech. But once you've started the speech, you still have a lot more content to cover. And my final point, let's talk about what to do during the speech itself. The first thing you need to remember, of course, is that you need to make sure to transition between point to point. Just as previously going from point 2 in regards to starting the speech to point 3 in regards to during the speech, you're going to have to make sure that there's substantial links and transitions between all of your points so that your audience doesn't get lost along the way. But second, you're going to have to make sure that when you're ending your speech, you conclude in a specific way. Just as I'd like to conclude this speech by saying that you need to take into account both the beginning, middle, and end of your speech, as well as the preparation of the speech itself. When giving an extemporaneous speech, you need to make sure that individuals understand that you are both ending the speech and that you'd like to go over your main points. So, when giving an extemporaneous speech, you resound the most and resonate the most with your audience. Through the use of only a cue card, you both maintain some sense of eye contact and thus have a larger effect on your audience while not detracting in the way that you would by holding an entire manuscript. By doing so, you successfully obtain that happy middle ground between too little preparation and too much preparation. Just as when you're riding a bike, you don't want to have too much preparation and information, you don't want to have too little preparation or you'll be crashing and burning. So, just like riding a bicycle, just the right amount of preparation and just the right amount of forethought and information will leave you flying along in no time.